All right, this is the webinar on how to do engagement on Twitter to get more clients and get more money. So this is Paul and Lauren giving the presentation, and Paul's going to be starting off with Tweet Dirty to Me with our fabulous Prezi. So take it over, Paul.
All right, thank you very much. Basically, if you guys have any questions in regards to anything that Lauren and I are talking about, feel free to chime in and ask. The first thing that we're going to talk about here is who to talk to. That depends a little bit on what your goals are as models. The first set of goals that we're going to be talking about here are the short-term goals, which are obviously getting people to cam with you and visiting your profile and creating that short-term interactions. Long-term goals, branding yourself, building relationships, increasing engagement, increasing retweets. When you're on Twitter and on social media, we want to make sure that we're doing what we can to not only attract new clients, but utilize that to retain the clients that we already have.
And I'm going to say on the goals, most people across the board when it comes to social media, they're just looking for the short-term results. They're looking for the click. They're just looking for that one-time sale. But really what's better, and it takes a little bit more to build, is really to build relationships. And because the deeper the relationship you have with somebody, the more likely they're going to keep coming back and buying from you and to recommend you. So it's worth it to focus on the long term and look at it as a bigger investment because it's better to have a lifetime client. So.
One of the ways that we can attract new clients as well as retain clients is to utilize what we call influential followers. They can help increase your reach and get people interested. They provide good content, pictures, links that will help keep people interested and also create material for you guys to engage with, that you're not necessarily directly engaging with the potential client, but a lot of people are going to see the engagement that you're creating, because these are people who are following and retweeting to a lot of followers. Cam sites, dating sites, porn sites, and just people who are sex positive are great for creating a robust engagement system for you. All right. It's important to look at the people that you are engaging with and to see if they're retweeting pictures, if they're tweeting, and they're following people back. By going for people that are following people back, you're likely to be followed by them more likely as well, and that creates a situation here where you can not only increase your follower base, but also have them seeing the content that you are engaging with them on, that you're tweeting out to them.
Yeah, one of the things with looking at influencers, so influencers are people who other people listen to. So like if they say follow somebody, other people will follow you. If they say click this link, then people will click that link. But a lot of times you'll come across people who have locked profiles. If somebody with a locked profile retweets your link or retweets your photo, the only people who see it are the people who follow them, and they tend to have very, very small followings because they have to approve everybody. So if you see somebody who has a locked profile and they're trying to engage with you a lot, you know what? Unless they're an active client, don't really even worry about it, because they're not going to get you the exposure and the reach that you're looking for. Look for people who follow people back. Look for people who have large followings and who are really engaged, who are talking to people. Those are the ones, and talking to the people that you want to reach, like other people within your community, guys that you want to get out there, or other people in adult.
Are there any questions as of this point? All right, fantastic. We'll go ahead and move on. Potential clients are obviously the people that we want to start reaching out to create the engagement. And being able to, in a non-threatening and welcoming way, is important. You don't want to be too overbearing, and you want to know that they want to know that you're interested in them. So asking questions makes the interaction seem more personal. And in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about lists and ways to kind of keep track of people who are potential clients and create an easier way to make sure that we're paying attention to what they're saying. So you can slide in easily to the conversation. So if you're noticing something that you can be like, all right, I'm comfortable chatting about this. It doesn't have to be something that is adult entertainment related. It can be something that's, you know, hobby related, personal life related. And by sharing details and similarities that you have with them and taking advantage of the things that you do see, you can begin to develop more personal relationships with potential clients.
And everybody likes to talk about themselves. You know, the old joke, it's like, okay, enough about me. What do you think about me? Well, that's basically true. The hard part is like as a Twitter, it's really easy to talk about us, but if you want somebody else to be interested in you, you'd think maybe talking about you would be the thing to do, but it's not. What you want to do is you actually want to talk about them. So if you're reaching out to somebody, ask about them. Engage them by talking to them. Everybody has their own most interesting topic. So if you can talk to somebody about themselves, they're going to be far more likely to engage with you. And I've seen it where, like, I've reached people, you know, like really big name, you know, like porn stars and whatnot, who normally don't talk to anybody, but you reach out to them and you start talking to them about themselves, all of a sudden they're talking to you. But that's a really great way to actually break the ice and get through that initial contact barrier.
And that being said, I do want to take a second to touch on goals and dreams, which is a big part of what MGF is about. The guys that we're interacting with and communicating with, they want to know that they're supporting you, even if it's basic life needs, college, whatever the goals are. By putting those out there, that gives something that you can engage with them about. That's also about you, but it also gives them something where they can chime in, you know, give a little bit of their words of wisdom and advice, and you know, you can ask them about, you know, their goals and what they're doing as well. All right, we're going to talk for a second about a few tech tips. The first thing that we're going to have is lists. Lists can be extraordinarily useful for creating engagement and retaining followers and people who are clients. So in order to create a list, I'm going to go ahead and pop out of the presentation here for a moment and hop over to Twitter. All right. In order to create things in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to go ahead and click on that right there. As we drag down, we have the lists bar that's available. And by creating a list or multiple lists, it allows you to easily keep track of what people are saying without having to see everything that's on your Twitter line, on your Twitter feed for that. So, for example, here has influential followers on it. I can go ahead and click on that, and it'll bring up an entire list of the people who I've added to that list. Some of the things that make it particularly beneficial is that if you have somebody who you know is a client and they're not necessarily very much, you can add that person to a list. So you can say all of the clients that I have, I'm going to put them on a list, people who have already chatted with me. This helps you allow a good flow for communication.
Why don't
that you can see them and say, hey, you know what? This is somebody that I talked to before, that's invested in me before. I'm going to go ahead and make it a point to chat with them. To create a list, you had something to say real quick, Glenn?
I was just going to say, let's show them how to create a list.
Right. So to create a list right here, I've got the Create List button, which is right beneath Edit Profile after you go up to Settings and drag it down to Lists. You click on that, it asks you to create list. It says add description. You can add a description if you choose, particularly if you have a lot of different lists. That can be helpful. Or if somebody else is also potentially utilizing your account, so you have two people on one account, let's say, that description could be very useful. You can create a public privacy setting and a private one. The public one, anyone can follow that list. Private means only really you can access that. So I'm going to go ahead and create here a private list. That will save the list, and it brings me straight to the list. The list will always come up in the settings when you drag down and go to your lists initially. But right here, let's say, all right, I'm at the list already. You can add names to that. So let's see. Yeah, I can do a search on there, and I can come up with people that are on there and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to add A, B, or C to the list. You can also add people to lists from the regular Twitter feed as well. So if you go to anybody that's got a profile, you click on their profile summary. You can click right next to this following there, and there's an option here to add or remove from lists. So I can go ahead and add that person to whichever list I want to add them to, just by selecting that, or multiple lists if there are multiple things that are applicable to that particular follower.
Yeah, the biggest reason to have private versus public, if it's a private list, other people can't see it and other people won't know that they've been added to it. So like if you actually have a list of your clients, you know, people who are actually spending money with you, you might not want other people to know about that. So that would be a good one to make private. A good one to make public are just people that you're talking to. You can call it like sexy tweeps, you know, fun peeps, whatever. And because people do, you know, they'll get notifications about it, and a lot of people like to be added to lists, so it's kind of fun for them. And you can follow other people's lists as well. But if it's anything that you wouldn't want other people to see, you know, then make sure it's private.
Alright, so that's the basic gist there of the lists. Lists are very, very, very useful tools, so I can't really emphasize that enough right here. Other useful tools, adding reference links, linking in the middle of the two suggestions, are also great for creating engagement, not only, but driving people back to your profile and back to your account. So Lauren, do you want to talk for a second on reference links?
Sure. So what reference links are is basically it's referring back to what somebody has said. So like say somebody tweets you and all they say is, oh, I love that photo. You know what they're talking about, but other people don't. So to capitalize, get the most amount of clicks back to your site, when you respond to them, you know, maybe you do a retweet, and in front of the retweet, what you do is, you know, you put like, thanks, I love that one too. We'll put like, thanks, I love that one too, and then in parentheses, put the link, you know, or put referring to and then the link. So that way other people know. By doing this, like if somebody says, ooh, I love sexy redheads, you know, what a great photo, and then you reply, you know, do a retweet, and then put the link in as part of your reply, now all of a sudden people can see what you're talking about, and if they're interested to see, they can click the link. And this, we've actually seen this have a pretty significant impact on links, and Paul will show you how to do that. But before he does, we'll just go over the other links real quick too. The linking in the middle of a tweet, most of the time you see tweets where, you know, it's text, 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 and then link at the end. If you actually put your link in the middle of the tweet instead, you can increase your click-through rate by about 30%. People are more likely to click if it's in the beginning. So say you're going to, you know, say you're selling photos. You can say, I just took a bunch of new photos, insert link, you know, come check them out today. Put the link in the middle. And then suggestion links are basically like if somebody says, ooh, I love redheads, you can say, me too, check out this picture, and then put the link. Instead of just responding with, me too, aren't they sexy? add the link back to your site where you can. All right, and Paul, do you want to show them like what a reference link might look like?
Right. So hopping back over here onto Twitter and creating, I'm going to go ahead and go to mentions on here. So what we see is we're seeing all of the tweets that I've been getting, and we have different people who have favorited and retweeted the link. But if I see that somebody tweeted as conversation, all right, and I say, all right, you know what, so a response in regard to that, I can go ahead and pull the link from picture or the link to my account or profile or state on it, and when I do a retweet, so I can add that link in. So right here, we've got the reply to. All right. Thanks for the help. And then I can add and then place the picture in there. By doing this, it puts the picture into the middle of the link, but it also says, all right, you know what, this is what we were talking about. So in addition to creating additional engagement and attracting more people to the picture, you can also utilize this if you haven't engaged with somebody in a day and a half and they've made a comment, or in, you know, even 10 hours, they might not remember specifically what you were talking about in relationship to them. Anyway, so it's a good way to do that. So to add that in as well. Say, you know what, this is what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Do you have anything to add to that one?
No, that's perfect.
Right. Fantastic. A few real quick to talk about. Don't start with about mentions, tweetreach.com, and asking for the retweet. There are different ways that we can get more impressions on our social media accounts, and one of these is that not starting with the about mentions. So hopping into Twitter one more time, if I create a conversation with somebody or I tweet something out and I say, hey, you know what, I'm going to reach out to an influential follower, and I go, all right, let's see, I've got some Robert's Reviews on there. That's an influential. Okay, you know what, that person I'm going to engage with. If I put what I'm going to say, even if it's just something simple right here, hey, sexy, how was your day? Right now, I'm limiting the amount of people that can see that tweet in a different way than I am when I put that in front. So if I put that in front before the about mention, more people are going to see that tweet. Lauren, can you pop in for a minute on that?
Yeah, so basically what it is, if you start with an at mention, what happens is only you, that person, and the people who follow both of you will see that tweet. It'll be on your timeline, on your profile page, but it won't come up into the timeline of people who are following you. So a lot of times people will start with an at mention and not realize that, you know, nobody's seeing it. So what's better is if you put the at mention anywhere after any piece of text, like it can even be a period or one word or anything. But having a piece of text before that means that it's going to go into the timeline of everybody who follows you. So if you're tweeting something out that you want other people to see that isn't maybe just a personal conversation, make sure to not have the at mention in the beginning. Yeah, and that's a perfect example. Like, come check out my updated profile, hope all is well. You know, and then you could put a link right in the middle of it. You know, even though maybe you want to specifically let Rabbit's Reviews know about it, other people might want to see it too. So that's why it's good to put the at mention at the end.
And that last part is a very important thing as well. We don't necessarily want to put all of our tweets before the about mention, because there are certain things that if you're just engaging and talking to one person and it's not something that's going to increase interaction and exposure with you, then that's something that you might want to put at the end. So if you're talking about what you had for dinner, then you want to have the about mention first, potentially, because then only really Rabbit's Reviews will see that, and you won't be tweeting that out to absolutely everybody that's on there. So there's some engagement that you may want to have before the about mention, and some engagement that you might want to have after that. So,
yeah, I always look at it as like, are other people going to be interested in this conversation? Yes or no. If the answer is no, start with an at mention. If the answer is yes, or you're linking back to your site, or you're giving some type of update about you that other people would find interesting, don't start with the at mention.
So, all right, and moving on right here to tweetreach.com, and I'm gonna let you conquer this one too, Lauren.
All right, and while we talk about it, can you go ahead and pull up tweetreach.com on the internet? So what TweetReach is tweets have what's called amplification. It's the number of people who are able to see your tweets. And it's actually can be significantly more than the number of people following you. So, like, Paul, do you want to type in your Twitter handle in there? And so just type in the @ and then your full Twitter handle. There you go. And what this will do is this will show you how many people are seeing your tweets and what your you have to sign in with Twitter, and what your impressions are. Because like if you get a retweet from a really big name person, you can take a reach of like, you know, even a few hundred to be up in the tens of thousands or the hundreds of thousands. All right, so like here's a really interesting. So you have estimated reach of 93,000. Well, Paul doesn't exactly have 93,000 people following him, right? So that means that through people talking to him, that he's reaching potentially 93,000 people per tweet on average, right? And the exposure is like how many times you're actually showing up in people's timelines. So that means some people might see you more than once. But so he has an exposure of 270,000 people. Through doing things like not starting with an @ mention, you can significantly increase this reach. The more people who see you, the more people who are going to be able to click your link, and the more people who are going to be able to spend money on you. So if you're wondering what yours is, you can just go to tweetreach.com, put your Twitter handle in, and see this information. It's pretty neat. And you can see like who, you know, all this information, this activity too. And this only rates the past 50 tweets. This is not all of your tweets overall. This is just the past 50 tweets. So like in this case, it had highest exposure from this person. So this person, she has obviously a significant following. Yeah, she has 75,000 followers. So when that person like retweeted him or engaged with him, it really shot his amplification up. So it's just kind of a bit of data that's fun to look at, you know. And
that also brings us back to influential followers
yep.
as well. So the people who are the top contributors to the exposure, oftentimes those are people who are influential followers who are engaging and retweeting the posts that you have. So we do have a question here that came into the chat. It says, what is it better to do, the about mention my girl fund or the pound my girl fund?
I would do the @ mention. Hashtags are just keywords. I mean, granted, we actually monitor both. So if it's something that you want to make sure that we see, do an @ mention, because an @ mention will come in through our, you know, our connect on Twitter, and will let us know that you're talking to us. The hashtag won't actually let somebody know that you're talking to them unless they're searching for a hashtag.
All right, fantastic. So right on here, if we just scroll down, I'm going to do one little more section on here. It does say, as far as contributors with the missions, you can get a list of who's giving you the most, and that kind of runs down as well. So you can say, all right, you know what, who are the people that I want to be interacting with, and make it a point to interact with, because that's helping create more impressions, tweets, and retweets.
Yep. Good tip. Yeah.
It's also important to ask sometimes for retweets in some of your posts. Retweets, shares, favorites, you do see people that are doing that. Oftentimes people will look at a tweet and they'll say, all right, you know what, that's a really nice tweet. If you're saying, all right, you know what, this is great, let's go ahead and see how many retweets we can get. Sometimes just putting please retweet is something that can attract people to that retweet concept in their head. It's like they weren't thinking about it initially, but they go, oh yeah, you know what, I do know people that would like this and enjoy seeing this. Therefore, they go ahead and that creates the action of them retweeting or sharing and favoriting the tweet.
Yeah, doing the call to action makes people want to take action. Tell them what you want, and they'll be more likely to do it. Also, when you ask for a retweet, be careful about writing please RT. RT usually indicates that that tweet is in and of itself a retweet. So if you don't want to confuse the situation, it's better to just say at the end of it, please retweet, and actually write out retweet as opposed to please RT. You will see both, but writing out please retweet fully spelled out gets better reaction because it's less confusing for people. Another way to do it, if you don't want to just say ask like for please retweet, try something like retweet if you like this, retweet if you think I'm sexy, you know, retweet if it's Monday. and you'll get people who will do it.
Yeah. So when we do, and again, kind of just to point this out in Twitter itself, when we look at the tweets that are hanging on somebody retweets, like here's one from Seven Veils account, so account 7 Veils. Right here, the RT is in front. I'm not saying that somebody else is retweeted. Down here, it has the handle. This is somebody that retweeted me at Opening Gateways right here. So if she says please before, you don't know if she's saying, oh, please, in relationship to a picture or a comment or something else that has happened. Or that I'm actually asking, oh, hey, please retweet. Right? So by spelling it out, that alleviates that confusion. That makes people go, all right, you know what, like, this is actually what they're saying.
Like, for instance, actually, this is really cool. So that tweet right there from Catwoman, who favorited it, it says, you know, cuddle me or we can have sex today, totally up to you. Like, if I retweeted that and just put, like, you know, please in front, like if it said please RT and then cuddle me or we can have sex today, it's like, you know, am I saying please, like, yes, let's do that, or please retweet it? The way that I would read it as a Twitter person is I was saying, please cuddle me, please have sex with me, in response to, as opposed to, please retweet this tweet. So I hope that kind of makes sense.
I'm jumping forward. Following people. This is following people is free, and if you want people to follow you, you should follow them. So it's kind of the idea of, is it better to keep the people that you're following on a small list and say, you know what, I'm only following 200 people, or is it okay to say, all right, you know what, I'm going to follow a little bit more people? Now, if you overload on the following and you say, all right, you know what, I'm going to follow 10,000 people, you know, right when I have a new account, then that might be something that we want to avoid, just because it's like, all right, you're following everybody in the entire world. Not everybody in the entire world is going to follow you back, so it's not necessarily going to look as balanced in that regards. But once, as you're following people, let's say you have 1,000 followers, you know, you can go ahead and start following people that you're like, all right, you know what, these are interesting people. These are people that I want to engage with. These are potential clients. You can go ahead and add those people on and start following those people a little bit more.
Yeah.
This is where lists also come into play, because by having the lists on there, you can say, all right, you know what, I don't need to go through my entire Twitter feed, my entire timeline to see the people that I really kind of want to make sure that I'm focusing on and paying attention to. So you can kind of separate those followers out and pay a little bit more attention. Lauren, you had something to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, you can add people to a list without following them, just so you know. So if you don't want to follow somebody, you can still list them. But Twitter recently, it used to be following people was a great way to expand your own following. One, everybody likes to be followed. You want to be followed. Other people want to be followed. That's why it's just kind of a nice thing to do when you meet people. But it used to be like if you followed somebody, a lot of people had an auto-follow set. But now Twitter has gotten rid of auto-follow back. So if you follow somebody, they no longer will auto-follow you back. They can't. Not everybody knows this yet. So, you know, if you had that set, you're no longer auto-following people back. And if you're using following people as a way to expand your own Twitter following, it's not going to work quite as well. A good way to do it is follow somebody and let them know, like, hey, I followed you. Would you follow me back? And actually request that they do it, and that can help. But everybody wants to be followed, so you want to make friends, go follow people.
All right. So on here, talk to me. Building quality engagement is more than just tweeting. So long-term relationships with followers and clients and potential clients, that's what's going to help build lifetime clients rather than just somebody who comes in once and says, all right, you know what, I chatted, we've done that one-time experience, and now I'm going to be done and go explore, you know, other things. By creating that quality engagement, asking them about themselves, getting them talking about themselves, and doing some of the things that we talked about in terms of listing, going back and saying, all right, you know what, I haven't seen this person around in a while, I'm going to go ahead and send that person and say a message that says, hey, what's going on, how are you doing? That's going to keep you in their mindset, and it's going to develop a relationship where instead of just one time that person visiting, that person might come and visit multiple times in a row, or set up even a regularly scheduled weekly appointment, etc.
All right, and that basically wraps up the presentation. So I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you everybody for joining us, and as always, if you have more questions, then you know, hit us up in the forums.